After I made the first video on the Hungarian tech tree, I've had a few comments pointing towards other Hungarian tech tree proposals which had a lot more research behind them, and today I'm answering those replies. I'm going through a brand new Hungarian tech tree, and this time it's a full tank destroyer line from tier 2 to tier 10. However, before I get into this video, I'm Jordan and welcome to the channel. I make a wide range of videos on this channel, and if you enjoy this one, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I upload World of Tanks and other information videos on Mondays and funny moments on Fridays. I'm also changing my name to Veloci soon. I'm just saying that to make you aware of the name change in the future. Anyways, let's get right into the video. Coming in at tier 2 is the 35M Ansaldo. Technically, this is an Italian vehicle, but it's something that was used by the Hungarian army during World War II. The hull armour of this tank will be 13mm on the front, 8 on the side, and 6mm on the rear, and a quick top speed of 42 km per hour. The tank will have a choice of two guns, both of them are autoloaders, the 7.92mm Jabora KMH and the 20mm Solo Fern. The 7.92mm will have 8 HP of damage and do 33mm of penetration on standard rounds with an 15 round autoloader, while the 20mm will do 12 HP of damage with 42mm of penetration on standard rounds with a 10 clip autoloader. Well, that's gonna rain from here. Coming in at tier 3 yet again is a tank that shouldn't really be in the game, but this is the 40M Nimrod. Now the reason why this shouldn't be in the game is because this is an anti-air vehicle, and wargaming generally don't add anti-air vehicles to the game, but considering some are already in the game, this gets a pass. The tank's hull armour and turret armour are the same, being 28mm on the front, 15mm on the side, and 6mm on the rear, with a nice top speed of 50 km per hour. The tank will have two gun options, the 40mm Bofors L52 and the 36M Bofors 40mm L60. The L52 is an autoloader with penetration of around 60mm and 40 HP of damage on standard rounds and a clip size of 5, while the A60 has 80mm of penetration and 60 HP of damage and a clip size of 4. Coming in at tier 4 is the 43M Toldi PV. This is essentially a Toldi tank destroyer, keeping the tank's maneuverability, but also giving it a rather large gun. But anyways, the Toldi PV will have 33mm of frontal armour, 23 on the side and 13mm on the rear, and a top speed of 50 km per hour. The tank will have two choices for its guns, the 7.5cm Pak 40-2 L-46 and the 7.5cm Pak 43 L46. The first will have 108mm of penetration and do 110 HP of damage on standard rounds, while the other will do 108mm of penetration and 110 damage on standard rounds. However, the tank's shots per minute will increase. Tier 5 is the Szebeny. This tier 5 is originally a tier 4 in the old proposal for this, but the creators have moved it up to tier 5. With its rather poor armour, 28 on the front, 13 on the side and 8 on the rear, and a tank's 35 km top speed makes this one of the poorer tanks in this tech tree. The tank has a choice of three guns, the 36M Bofors 40mm L60, the 40M 75mm gun, and the 5-AM 8cm L30 gun, which is a derp. The first one is the same as on the tier 3, making it a terrible stop grind, while the 43M 75mm gun has 113mm of penetration and does 110 HP of damage on standard rounds. The 5-AM 8cm looks like a derp gun with 70mm of penetration and 260 HP of damage on standard rounds, making it a very fun tank to grind. Coming up next is tier 6, the 44M Zrinyi 1. The Zrinyi I is a tier 6 in this tech tree, and I'm pretty sure was a tier 6 in the other tech tree. With decent armor, however, at 100mm on the front, 50 on the side, and 35 on the rear, and a better top speed than the Szebeny at 45km/h. The tank has a choice of 2 guns. The first is the 43M 75mm gun, that's on the Szebeny, but the next gun is a nice gun for this tank. The 7.5cm KW42L-70 will have 150mm of penetration and do 135 HP of damage on standard rounds with 16.21 shots per minute. That can amount for well over 1,500 damage per minute. However, I think this will just play out like the Jagdpanzer IV, a bit mediocre and lackluster. Coming in at tier 7 now is the 44M Tas Rahamloveg. The 44M Tas Rahamloveg is a paper tank that comes in at tier 7, another relatively low profile tank, much like that from tier 6 to 10, making sure that these fit into the sneaky tank destroyer role that this line will be. The tank has a similar armor layout to the tier 6, but it is 100 on the front, 50 on the side, and 35mm on the rear. It's also faster with 47km/h compared to 45. The tank has a lot of gun variants, so hang tight while I read them all out. There are 4 guns available to this tank: the 7.5cm KW42L-70, the 29M 8cm Boffers L-50, 29-38M 8cm Boffers L-58, and the 34M 10.5cm Canon L-42. The first is on the tier 6 tank, while the 29M 8cm Boffers L-50 will have 160mm of penetration and do 200 HP of damage on standard round. The 29-38M will have 180mm of penetration and do 220 HP of damage on standard rounds. And finally, the 34M will have 186mm of penetration but do an amazing 320 HP of damage on standard rounds, which is incredible for a tier 7 tank. Coming up next is the 45M Arpad. This tier 8 tank is a natural step forward from the Tas tanks at tier 7. With 120mm of armor on the front, 50 on the side, and 35mm on the rear, this tank is the most heavily armored in the tech tree. It is also decently fast, going 50km/h. Other than that, the tank has a choice of 3 guns: the 29-38M 8cm Boffers, the L-58 8.8cm KWK43 L-71, and the 38M 10.5cm L-70. The 29-38M is on the tank before it, while the KWK will do 203mm of penetration and 240 damage per shot on standard rounds, while the 38M will have 240mm of penetration and do a large 390 HP of damage on standard rounds, which is kind of good for that tank. That's close to premium tank standards for this tier. And finally, we have the last 2 tanks that we're going to go over. These 2 tanks are very much similar because these are the Straussler main battle tank prototypes and the main one itself. Coming in first at tier 9 is the Straussler MBT Proto. It's a very similar tank to that of the tier 10, as it will generally have the similar model with some variations, especially some large weak points on the top, but is a good gap to have to fill the void that was once between tier 8 and 10 in the tank destroyer line. Also, tier 8 and 9 will have hydro-pneumatic suspension, much like those Swedish tank destroyers, so they will play very much like them. The tank's armor will be 40mm on the front, 30 on the side, and 25 on the rear, and will have a top speed of 65km/h. A 120mm L1 as its top gun. This gun will do 259mm of penetration on standard rounds while doing 400 HP of damage. And finally, we have the crown jewel, the tank that every Hungarian wants in World of Tanks, the Straussler main battle tank. Very similar to the Straussler prototype, the model will have smaller weak spots and will be all around better. With 50mm on the front, 40 on the side, and 35 on the rear, and a top speed of 70 kilometers per hour, this tank will perform yet again like a tier 10 Swedish tank destroyer. This tank will have a 120mm L1 auto-loading gun, which already scares me because it gives me flashbacks to the Foch and the Waffenträger E100. This thing does 400 damage per shot with 259 pen on standard rounds, but it is a 6 shell auto-loader with an intra-clip reload of 2 seconds and a clip reload of 37 seconds. This will be a troublesome opponent, and one that I think will definitely be nerfed before it ever is considered for the game. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. This was probably the final video I'll do on the Hungarian tech tree, and this is a better tech tree proposal. It's been incredible doing the Hungarian tech trees because you guys really want this one to happen, even though it's very hard, and now we have quite a few proposals that are full lines. I might actually do another video on a light tank line or a wheeled light tank line for the Hungarians, or a medium tank line. It's entirely up to you. But anyways, I'll link this page in the description that I got all the information off. It's in Hungarian and I've had to translate it. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy it and want to check out some of my other videos. Anyways, I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.